Yep. Okay, and we might be working now. All right, we are live.
Hey,
You might be able to hear my voice if you're out there in the interwebs. Let people. Well, we have no followers on this Bid Nerds page yet, so but that's all right. All right, so I'm gonna go there and good morning.
good morning, JP.
All right, so welcome to the first edition of. Well, this is kind of a half-ass Bid Nerds today. We're kind of trying out the new format. Look at that! I got a lower third. That's me. I'm John Polnik from Derfasa Nation and Porsche Road Trip. So look at that. We got fancy lower thirds. I'm going to introduce my partner. We got
There-
Michael Deeb, look at that. He's got a fancy
Hey,
lower third. He's a
yeah.
professional auction specialist.
Well,
What the hell is it that we do? I don't know. Apparently, so what this is, Bid Nerds is we're going to do this every day at 9 o'clock. We've been doing it on Instagram, but we're moving over here to Facebook. We're going to
and
go live
YouTube.
to YouTube as well, but we're not doing YouTube today. We're just going on Facebook. But what we do, excuse me, is we give our top 5 picks, daily picks from the auto auction sites, cars and bids, and bring a trailer. So if you're like us, you're a nerd, you're a car nerd, you're watching, you're doing whatever it is that you do all day, and you're constantly going back and forth to cars and bids and bring a trailer to see what cars are going for and dream about cars, or maybe even buy a car. Or you've got a huge garage and you're just constantly filling it, and your wife is about to divorce you. We can relate. You're our people because
It's
we do
us.
this all the time. That's us, yeah. So this is basically a couple of bid nerds hanging out, picking our top 5 cars of the day, and telling you about them. And then we're gonna we're gonna predict what we think they'll actually bid to, and you can
Yeah,
see if we know what we're talking about or not. And chances are,
yeah,
it's not. We don't know what we're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Uh,
We pick our top 5 cars, and we either trash them or lust after them,
yeah.
and then we try to predict where we think they're going to go. Something basically guys like us do a lot of at home, anyways. So we're going to host a show here every day for you to watch us do it and step on our dicks trying to figure this out.
Correcto. Michael Deeb, you want to start with what car do you want to start with today?
Well, let's go. Let's. So actually, as I'm looking at this car, JP, we're gonna go to bring a trailer. There's a 1980 Porsche 911 SC Coupe that, as I'm staring at this, I realize this car is in my backyard. This car is here in San Francisco, in the 94107 part of town. This is a really beautiful car. It's just a no nonsense. It shows 80,000 miles. It looks to be in very nice condition. All the right equipment is there. Not too many modifications. There's a Momo steering wheel, but the Fuchs wheels are intact. I think this is a non-AC car. Yeah, that's correct. No AC on this car, but it looks like a no-nonsense, no-stories car. And SCs, they're still super desirable cars. I know. I think that the 3 liter is probably one of your favorite drivetrains for the G Series Carreras. This car's got a certificate of authenticity, no stories, nice condition, and is sitting here with, oh my God, I think I picked a car on the wrong day. That car's going to close tomorrow, but it's at $33,000. So maybe we can review it 24 hours in advance.
What color is that thing, man?
It says it's light blue metallic, but let me see on the COA, it calls it light blue metallic.
How do you like that license plate? 70ZS
Yes,
666.
666. Yeah, super evil.
When I sold my Chrysler LeBron, my LeBaron, 1988 LeBaron, Matt, our good friend Matt, who has become our friend because he bought the LeBron, he
Yeah.
bid like 6,000, or it was like, yeah, 7,666 to kind of
$66, right?
lynch it, to lock in his bid.
Oh my God, that's really funny.
What a great looking car. Yeah, I mean, I think the SC is one of the best 911s of all time. It's the best value. Is the 3.2 a better setup? Yeah, probably, but I think there's just something reliable and true and good about the SC and everything. It's just such an, I mean, it's a timeless car.
Yeah.
And they just keep kind of, they hold their value and they just creep up and they climb up. And so many people get into more expensive 911s, myself included. I hate to say it. But like you have a 993 or something, or a 964. Those are definitely the cars. The 964s are so expensive right now, and they're the 911 du jour. But boy, you're stepping into something that you're really going to have a bank account to keep up. That is not a car that that is going to be inexpensive to operate. Whereas an SC, man, you could drive this car to the end of time. How many miles did this one have on it?
So this car has 80,000 miles, but they're saying true mileage unknown. It's interesting because it is kind of a driver's setup. This car has a limited slip differential and a short shift kit put in there. So while it just has sort of the standard seats and not the heavily bolstered sport seats, I would still imagine that on a back road, this is probably a lively car to drive, something that's going to respond well and be a fun sort of back road partner. I love the color. The black Fuchs wheels with the stone guards and then the lights for. This car is second to me. I love it. It's beautiful.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let's. So, what's your bid?
I think this car. It's entirely possible this car could bring 50 grand. I think you do need a little bit more cleaning up. There's some stitches that are coming apart in both the front seats. And I've never met a G Series you couldn't throw $5,000 at it right away. But it wouldn't surprise me if this car brought close to 50 grand. So I really like this car. I think it comes from a good area, and it's got the COA. I think this car is going to bring $47,000.
$47,000. I mean,
yeah.
There is something going on with coupes. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. This is a really cool color. It does seem a bit driver quality for me to get maybe that high. I mean, bring a trailer, it is a day out before this thing comes. I mean, 32 is really, frankly, what I think this car is worth.
33, it's sitting at 33. And I for sure this car is going to break 40 grand. The question is, does it go to 45? Does it go to 48? Where does it land in the 40s? I don't think this car is going to sell in the 30s. It's too nice. It's got everything you're looking for.
Yeah, I think, boy, it wouldn't surprise me if you're right, but I'm going to be a little. I'm just not that strong on him. I know Bring a Trailer is one of those. Between Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids, Bring a Trailer is definitely bringing more money. Porsches always do well on Bring a Trailer, but I mean, 40. No, gosh, things are weird right now. Nothing makes sense. We're in bizarro land. I'm going to be a little softer and say 38.
38.
Yeah,
38, I mean 47. So we're really far apart on this one. Let's go. Let's see where it lands. And
okay.
Split the difference.
And the thing is, I'm going to concede ahead of time. You're probably right, because there's something about Bring a Trailer that is outside of what the actual world is. I think if this car is sitting on Renlist or Craigslist or any kind of private website where you would sell pre-owned cars, OfferUp or something like that, Facebook, I don't think this car breaks 40. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
But on Bring a Trailer, who the hell knows? All right, let's move on to the next car.
All right. So it will stay on Bring a Trailer. If you scroll down, you'll find a 2005 Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe. This seems to be a base Carrera. It's offered out of Naples, Florida, showing just 31,000 miles. It's an 05 with a 3.6 liter flat six, and this car has had an LN Engineering IMS bearing done to the car. The car has standard seats. I don't think it has a limited slip, but it's a manual transmission 6-speed car in seal gray with our favorite lobster fork wheels, the 19-inch Carrera Sport wheels. And it just looks like a no nonsense, lightly used, nice condition Carrera. And I think, these cars were basically $100,000 when they were new. So at 34,000 with 5 hours to go, where does this car land, and how great a value is it? Anything to me under $45,000 for a modern low mile 997 seems like a screaming deal. What do you think?
I gotta say, I'm very, very soft on this car. Again, Bring a Trailer is just disconnected from the real world. It's a base 2005 911. Yes,
Right.
it's got very few miles. That scares the crap out of me. This is a
Right.
first generation 997. This is the first generation. This is the first 997 that was probably in the showroom wherever this car was sold.
Right.
And I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Sorry here, guys. I'm trying to do some technical stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Very nice car, 6-speed manual. The 997s, were a much bigger platform than the 996s, and you and I have owned a couple, and they are fantastic cars. That being said, your argument, your trepidation with these early production versions of a whole new platform, although the drivetrain is really an evolution, we know historically from all different marques, not just Porsche, that the first year of a car can sometimes be problematic. While those cars kind of go out into the world, they come back to the service department, and recurring problems get re-engineered for year two and sort of invisibly go away. This is one of those cars that could be a candidate for some teething problems, some niggling problems, especially a low-mile car. It hasn't really been driven and maybe worked out, which I think is the warning you're trying to make. That being said, it's still an attractive color, it's a beautiful shape, and it's a fantastic driver. The car is sitting at $34,000, and I still think this thing is going to bring 40 to 45. If this thing were at a Porsche dealership, while it may not be eligible for a warranty, it would still be a great car that I think a dealership would ask close to $50,000 for because of the condition and the low miles. So what does the car bring here on Bring a Trailer? What's it worth in the real world? How smart is the BAT community with this sort of first year 997? What do you think, JP?
yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not because my camera's been kind of frozen up.
We can hear you just fine.
Okay, here we go. We got some movement again. Yeah, you mentioned the warranty thing, and obviously this car isn't available for warranty. The big thing is these cars needed to be driven while they were under warranty. This is a 996 platform or engine powertrain. It's the 3.6 liter. This is the same engine. They just carried it right over on the base model of the 997. If you didn't have this thing, if you drove this car, if you didn't drive this car rather when it was new and you got past the warranty, you're gonna be on the hook for not just everybody knows the intermediate shaft bearing, which this one's been updated, but you also have rear main shaft bearing, or not shaft bearing, but you have the rear main seal, you have the camshaft seals. There's a litany of little things that go wrong with these cars very early on, and Porsche took care of them in most of them. This car is from Florida. You can tell when you look in the interior of this thing. It's got that horrible interior color. It's like that kind of stone gray that just does not hold up well. It's and especially with the supple leather, I just absolutely cannot stand that supple leather look. It just doesn't age well. It doesn't age well. And you can smell this car, right? You're looking at the pictures, and it's from a moist place, and when you get inside this thing, you're just going to be like, oh, God, get me away from this thing. So some asshole's going to pay top dollar because it's got low miles, and they are going to have so many damn problems with this car. I'm sorry, whoever owns this car. It's probably a nice car, but I wouldn't touch this with a fucking 100-foot pole, man. No way. This is an awful car. So already at 34.5, it's a good solid, I don't know, $5,000 more than it should be. This should be a $29.99 car. But instead, here we are looking at 34 and a half. With 4 hours to go. So I guess it's probably going to go, 5 hours. So does this thing break 40 on Bring a Trailer? Some idiot will probably pay that. So let's call it 43. What was your bid?
I was going to say 43. Based on the way you bashed it, I'm going to take the over.
Good call.
So I'll go 44 on this car and laugh all day long. I love it. You can smell this car. It's moist. It's got meat curtains for leather. Yeah, there you go. Good luck, youngster.
All right. After we shit all over that car, what do we got next?
All right.
Should we go over to? Are we going to go to cars and bids today?
Yeah. Let's go to cars and bids. And what we're going to do here is juxtapose two cars that I thought were really interesting and very similar. We have two silver BMWs. So the first one is a 98 convertible. This is an E36 platform. 98, as I come to learn, is the first year that a convertible was offered on the M3 in the United States. This car is offered out of Carlsbad, California, and has 71,000 miles on it. Car is a manual 5-speed transmission, titanium silver with dove gray interior, clean title, not a lot of stories, really nice car. And with an hour to go, it's sitting at $15,000. I love M3s. I have driven an E36 M3 convertible and absolutely hated it because this car has zero integrity. When I tell you this car flexes, you can't imagine what I mean by that. Like it's all over the place. I don't know if strut tower braces and adjusting the suspension can cure some of that. But knowing how magical an M3 coupe is, I was just horribly disappointed at how bad the M3 convertible was. And it's a car I would never want to own. So with that being said, JP, what do you think? Have you driven one of these, and do you have an opinion one way or the other?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not you know me, I'm not a cabriophobe. I think a lot of people get into this whole body stretch roll thing, but I have to agree with you on the E36 body style. It is a big open box. It does have back seats, so you do have that kind of shoebox with no lid kind of thing happening, and that's a little bit of a bummer. But but the thing is, I think if you're comparing this car to the coupe, then yes, you're going to have some of that. Gosh darn it! Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Darn it.
I can still hear you.
Yeah, no, it's not that. I'm trying to get a split screen for us here. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So I think you're right. Yeah, you've got that open shoebox thing, so you do get a lot of that twisting. If you compare it to a coupe E36 M3, E36 M3 is one of the greatest sports cars of the era. And yeah, the convertible is not as good, but I think for the certain person, who cares? And yes, a strut tower brace will make a massive difference. Yes, suspension will make coilovers transforms the car and makes that kind of twistiness more bearable. And frankly, you can make the car good.
If you live in Southern California or Florida, and this is your daily driver, super cool car. But the M3 is an incredible street car, and it's an amazing track car. And for me, a 911 is a track car, and even in convertible form, is an incredible car. To me, most of the 911 convertibles I've driven have been very similar to the coupes of that same platform, and I love the convertibles with the Porsche range. But this BMW as a convertible is a just really, really bad car. I couldn't believe how much it flexed and twisted or whatever, and I would never ever try to push it or like hang it out in a car like that. I just think you'd be, Really
I would like to see you drive more of them. Honestly, I wonder how. I wonder if the one you were. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, I know you know your stuff, so it's.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's talk about this car in general, though. One thing, like you mentioned, okay, if you're in SoCal or something like that, you've got a great car. A lot of people. In rainy places like the Northwest, this car is a great car. This one in particular comes with a hardtop. That's a very rare, rare. It's a removable hardtop.
No, you don't see them. Yeah.
That's going to make a shit ton of noise when you're going around corners, though. That thing's going to creak and squeak and make all kinds of. But it sure does look good, and it sure is nice to have in the wintertime if that's something you want to drive. A lot of people that come from places that have inclement weather really like convertibles because when the weather does get nice, you see them use them more. Like in Seattle, you drive around. If it's not raining, every convertible top is down. Every one of them. It's just it still boggles my mind when I drive around here in Seattle or in Las Vegas or in California, and the weather's beautiful, and you see people with their tops up. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny. It's like, why do you even have a convertible if you're gonna have the top up? They look dumb with the
Seriously.
top up. So
Seriously.
this one in particular looks like it's in an unbelievably good condition. The
It's
interior
nice.
just, this is the
Yeah.
exact. The interior looks the exact opposite of that 2005 997 that we just looked at, where you
Right.
looked at the interior of that other one. It just looks old and you can smell it. This car
Yeah.
looks brand new, and you could tell if you smell it, that you can imagine that it smells like new leather, new BMW.
What's really funny
And
too is I actually love that light colored leather. I love wearing black and navy blue jeans that
yeah,
the ink and dye will get all over the seats. But I still love those interiors. Those seats are fantastic too. Those BMW, I think they call them Vader seats, are really great sport seats. They hold you in place. They're super comfortable for long drives, and they're really, really beautiful to look at. I really do like the E36 M3.
yeah.
So
Those,
anyways,
for the record, those are not Vader seats.
oh,
Vader
they're
seats
not.
are have a much more kind of spacey, kind of like almost scaled look to the way the leather pieces go on. Those are really nice
Okay.
seats, though. There's and I think what really lends itself to the beauty of this interior is the dual tone. Porsche just
Yeah.
hasn't figured this out. And it drives me absolutely nuts. BMW will have
I
these
see.
light
Yeah.
colors where the seats and the door cards, parts of the door cards are a lighter color. Everything else is dark, and that's just fantastic. So I think it's the combination of silver exterior, kind of a navy blue, and bisque interior just looks wonderful in this car.
Yeah, super
All
cool.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so at $15,000 with an hour to go, where do you think this car comes in? This is tough to say. I don't know. These cars are really soft in the secondary market. Wouldn't surprise me if it landed at 18. Wouldn't surprise me if it landed at 23.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising. I mean, there's a lot of bids. It's 70,000 miles. E36 M3s are one of those cars that have been cheap for so long that all of them have been destroyed by kids.
Right.
Oh, I want to learn to Fast and Furious and drift and all that stuff. Back in
Yeah.
2003, people were beating the living shit out of these because they
Back
just
in 98, when they ran new, were beat shit out of them.
well, yeah, but I mean, when they were brand new, they were expensive. So you had
That's
that,
true.
the E36 went from what 92 to
94 to 99.
no, it's not. It actually started in '92 for the not M3s, but the E36 in
Oh, the
general.
E36. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
so
I
the
saw
E36
yeah.
platform. You're right. '94 was the first M.
95, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it went into I think it was 2001 or something like that. The E36 convertible. Anyway, whatever. The M cars. They were expensive when they were new, but as soon as the E46 came out, the prices of these plummeted because the E46 was such a drastic departure from in style and everything that I mean these just went in the shitter. And then they got cheap, and then everybody drifted them and trashed them and had a good time with them, which is great.
Sure.
This is a convertible. It's off season. The economy's in a weird place. Cars and Bids is not nearly as strong as Bring a Trailer, but we do like it better for the record. It is, at least it's in California. So I'm going to say 19.
Yeah, I think that's a good bid. I'm going to go just higher than you. I'm going to say 19,900 and they bet the over on that.
Yeah.
Just because this car is so clean and the mileage is
Where are
very
you going to find
reasonable.
one? Yeah.
Right. So that being said, let's jump over to Bring a Trailer, and here we have a year older, a 97 M3 Coupe with the Vader seats. Now I can clearly see the difference between the two seats. Thank you, JP, for that. This car is in San Diego, which is just a few miles down the road from Carlsbad. This car is also sitting on 71,000 miles. This car also is Arctic silver with the gray leather upholstery, the Vader seats, as I mentioned. It does have a sunroof and a spoiler. Beautiful car. Also super clean condition, a little bit better photography here. And this is a car that to me has a much broader and a ton of appeal. It just fantastic car, excellent condition. Doesn't look like it's modified or messed with at all. And I'm telling you, man, I'm smitten. This car is at $18,000 with about 2 hours left to go. So what do you think, JP?
Well, I mean, what's the horse? This is the S52 engine, right?
So it's
which
200
same engine? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an inline six at 3.2 liter that makes 240 horsepower and 236 pound-foot of torque. The torque rivals that of the European cars, but the European cars made over 300 horsepower because they employed individual throttle bodies per cylinder, where this had one large throttle body to feed all 6 cylinders. And BMW did that just so that these cars could pass smog and emissions and be sold here in the United States. And they wound up being a huge commercial success and really cemented the M3 brand for BMW across North America. So this car, I cannot stress how important the success of this car was. And so to see one this old and this sort of, unmodified condition is kind of rare. It's only had 2 previous owners. So when you buy this car, you'll be the 3rd owner of this really beautiful condition car.
Everybody knows I'm a convertible guy. I'm not a cabriophobe, but of the 2 M3s, this one's clearly the better one. What a beautiful car. For the era, you compare this car to a 993 Porsche 911. This car was, how much less money was this car on the showroom than a 993 911?
Probably it was probably 60% of the value of a 911.
Price, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But the same value, it's funny. That's the thing. It's like,
Right.
So, and I think that's always been kind of the M3 911 battle for the longest time. And this car really brought it. I mean, I owned a, when I got my first 996 C4S, that was probably sometime in the mid-aughts, and driving with my friends who had E36s and stuff, and everybody's a better driver than I am. But I remember, this car, 100 fewer horsepower, almost 100 fewer horsepower than my 996. Was always keeping up. I always had a hard time keeping up with guys who knew how to drive in one of these. And I just bang for the buck performance, the classic old school hard BMW lines. I wish BMW would go back to this kind of design sensibility. Nowadays BMW is all about like, oh, we're going to charge more if we put more radiuses. If we've got a curve here or a swoop there or an air vent that doesn't go anywhere here, the better. That's BMW's design language now. This harkens back to when true minimalism, same thing that that Porsche used to have, and boy, I miss it. I miss it terribly.
Yeah. My good friend Nick Usurvic in San Francisco had a yellow 96 and put the tall wing on it, would put sticky tires on it, and did a few frame braces and suspension. And we would go to the track in his car, and that was what cemented my love affair with the E36. I've never owned one. Always lusted after one. I wanted a lightweight for years. Someday I'd like to have an E36 coupe in my garage, and this one is beautiful. This would be a perfect candidate. So anyway, that being said, it's at $18,000 with less than 2 hours to go. I think this car is going to bring, just because of the cleanliness, I think it's going to bring $25,000, which has got to be all the money for this year, this sort of vintage M3 coupe. Like you said, E36s are still terribly soft in the marketplace for how good a car they are. It wouldn't surprise me if it brought 27, but I'm going to bid $25,000 for this car and say that's every dime, and it'd be well sold and well bought.
Is that a stock wing on that thing?
It is, yeah. It was an option, and then the lightweight had that wing with 2 risers that brought it up about 5 inches. But that cross plane wing is the same one that would have been on the lightweight, and it was an option when you ordered the car. And
did they call it lightweight or was it CS? I can't remember. What do they call the lightweight?
It was
one?
a lightweight.
Was it actually
it was
called lightweight?
M3 lightweight. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a 95 with a 3-liter. But we can get into one of those when one comes up for auction.
I sure.
Drone on about that car for days. It's amazing.
So your bid was 25 on this one?
25 on this car, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's solid. Which it could go 10 to 15,000, almost twice as much as what the convertible one would go for. Would not surprise me at all.
Right.
So I think, as usual, convertibles are like a great value because you can always get them less expensive, but usually you're not getting that much less car. In fact, a lot of times you're getting just as good, if not better. This is not one of them. We both agree. The M3 Coupe is far superior to the convertible. But you could have a great time in either one of them.
Yep.
I'm gonna say what was the bid at right now already?
It's at 18, and I bid 25. So what do
Yeah,
you
I'm
think?
gonna go with almost 2 hours left. Yeah, gosh, you stole where I'm gonna go a little under. I'm gonna go 24. I think it creeps up there.
24. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I think my bid's conservative. I'll give you my 25 and jump mine to 27. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Really
yeah,
nice car.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
Again,
thank you, JP.
where are you gonna find a clean one, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, JP.
Oh,
This was fun. Hello, Facebook.
this
Thank
is
you.
fun. Yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe and like and do all that stuff. Go over to Instagram and check us out at Bid Nerds there. When you're done, go over to Bid Nerds on Facebook. That's where you're at already. YouTube is the big thing. That's where we really want to be. We're going to get that set up tomorrow. We're going to go live on YouTube on Bid Nerds. But subscribe, like, follow, do all those things on all the channels. We really, really appreciate it. We are the Bid Nerds. My name is John Polnik, and over there we got Michael Deeb. Look, we'll show off our little lower thirds. That's me.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yep.
We spent all the time building this shit. We may as well
Yeah.
use it.
There you go.
That's it. That's another episode of Bid Nerds, 9 o'clock every day somewhere. Soon we'll be on as many platforms live as we can make the stuff technically do. But this week, just kind of dig around one of those socials and you'll find us. We're here to help you pick the top 5 picks on cars and bids and bring a trailer and give you horrible advice about it. If there's a car that you want us to review, let us know in the comments or DM us, and maybe we'll review that car on an upcoming episode of Bid Nerds. See you
Thank
guys
you.
tomorrow.